Soothing for us. It says we're now streaming, so welcome everybody to another wonderful week of Love City Live. Well, I'm saying it's going to be wonderful. That's a little presumptuous of me, right, Rosa?
No. Say it out loud.
Yes. I'm assuming it's going to be good. Thanks everybody for joining us. I'm Andre in the Flow. We're joined this week by Rosa Vasquez of Collaborative Conscious. More on her in a bit, but I want to give everyone an opportunity to come on in. I'm going to pull up our chat screen. Give us a shout and let us know who you are and where you're watching from, and then I'll let Rosa know. I'm going to pull this up so that I can see everything and have a full view. Looks like we've got one viewer, Rosa. One viewer.
Okay. Go in.
So
lucky number one.
Lucky number one. So what are we doing here? We're this is Love City Live, the Good Report. It's a space where every Wednesday, the people in Love City Art specifically, hey, David Kwong Pham, who gave us a shout, one of my buddies from the Metamorphosis Project and a Love City fave. We wanted a space where we could gather once a week to circle the wagons around our tribe, around our crowd. The people in Love City Arts are really, really special. And I wanted to figure out a way to connect with them while also showcasing all of my cool friends. And so tonight's cool friend is Rosa Vasquez. Sometimes we have two cool friends on here, and sometimes we have three, and sometimes we have one, and sometimes it's just me talking. But I want to invite everyone to come in and gather around the well and take a breath. We're going to be here for about the next hour or so and some change, unless Rosa and I start breaking into a few of our college stories. And we didn't even go to college together, but I'm sure there's some overlap in there somewhere. I've got fuzz for people who are going to be listening to this in the podcast. By the way, this is a live podcast taping, episode 6 of 52 weeks of episodes where I want to connect with people like Rosa and awesome lights in our community. 52 weeks. This is only number 6. So we're just getting started. But it feels good. I mean, you've stopped by before and hung out with us. How do you feel about this love vibe of connecting people and bringing people together?
I know, like when I do come in and I catch a bit of it, it's just so much energy just coming out of the screen already. You know, you can feel the love and the people you bring in. So that's great to always have. So I love that you and your guests are bringing that out. Even if it's just for 5 minutes, a minute, or you stay for the whole thing, you know, is there.
You can always catch a love up. Okay, so let's breathe together this week to anchor our energy and kind of align ourselves. And then we're going to sync up. I invite all of the 3 watchers and let us know who you are. If you're watching on Facebook right now, there's like 3 Facebook channels going, a couple of YouTubes, and then Twitch, Periscope. Yeah, that Periscope's on Twitter. So if you're sending us love, I can see that 3 people are currently watching on all of those different platforms. If you're hanging out for just a moment, then we bless your quest too. See, we just lost 2 viewers. It's cool. We're still going to breathe together because what we came for is a meeting of minds that are anchored in matters of the heart, and a meeting of the mind of people who want to be the change that they wish to see in the world. And so we're just going to hang out here for a second, for just a moment. And I know that there's a huge vice presidential debate going on right now. And a lot of mud is about to get thrown potentially in the next hour and a half that they're on, but we're going to offer something a little bit differently over here on this channel. And what's wonderful about life is that there's a lot of things to choose from. Sometimes you want pizza. I went for all the bad things first, Rosa.
That's good. Sometimes you have to.
Sometimes you want the pizza. Sometimes you want the chicken. Sometimes you want the salad. Sometimes you want the vice presidential debate. Sometimes you just want to breathe with friends. And tonight I was anticipating, well, this morning I was anticipating tonight. And I was like, oh man, that's going to be horrible for ratings. No one's going to potentially show up, if there's a vice presidential, and Spirit immediately said to me, Rosa, like, would you chill the fuck out? Because the people that are meant to be in the space watching the vice presidential debate will be there. And the people that are meant to trot through the little, briar patch and hang out with you and Rosa will be there too. And then there's the replays, and then there's the podcast, and all of these ways that people will eventually be able to connect. So it's chill. It's really, really chill. So we're going to take a moment to anchor ourselves in this space as a community. We gather to hold space equally for what's good in the world. I know there's been a lot of disappointing news. I know there's been a lot of anxiety. I know there's been a lot of stress. And I invite you now to take a breath. Now, I know that Rosa is supposed to be on the episode and she's having a technical difficulty and she's fallen off. She'll be back. But I just want to invite you now in the place that we're going to be here every Wednesday regardless, but in the space and in the place of all of that angst that's over on the vice presidential debate, I want to bring a different kind of vibe. A little bit of love, a little bit of light. Like I said, we gather every Wednesday. Sometimes we have guests, sometimes we don't. Sometimes our guests have flawless technology, and sometimes they fall off like Rosa has done, but she'll be back. Let's pull ourselves into 11 minutes past the top of the hour. Nowhere to be, nowhere to go, not running from anything, and not running towards anything, just allowing our love to be all there is in this moment. And like I said, you can stop by for 2 minutes. You can stop by for 20 minutes. You can listen to this later in the podcast. It's chill. It's chill. But we don't always want to be in doom and gloom. We can't be in doom and gloom for the rest of our lives. David Kwong Pham says, let's forget about the vice of life. Yeah, there's a lot of mess going on right now. I know that if you're watching the same television that I'm watching, or or subject to the same, I always talk about these metal and glass devices that are kind of pushing and pulling us around in life. If that's happening to you the way that it's happening to me, and hopefully Rosa when she returns, if that's what's going on, I invite you to just take a breath right now. We breathe because life is scary. We breathe because life can be hard. We breathe because life is unpredictable. We breathe because life is unpredictable. I'm going to reach over for my angel card so I can pull one until Rosa comes back, or if I hear from her through the internet. I'm going to pick an angel card and read one, and then that will guide our time together, friends. I'm a woo-woo person. For those of you who don't know, I'm a woo-woo person, so I don't mind just kind of being still while we have a bit of a technical situation, I guess. I'm going to grab a card. All right, David Kwong Pham is still with us. It looks like a couple other people have come in. Thank you for watching us on YouTube and Facebook. I think I'm on my personal Facebook page and also on the Love City Arts one. All right, so someone tell me in the chat when to actually stop, and that will be the card that's on top. I'm shuffling my angel card deck. Nothing too woo-woo for you superstitious people. They're the original angel cards by Kathy Tyler and Joy Drake. If you've been around and watching the YouTube channel and been listening to the podcast, you know I pull these cards out all the time when we need some extra magic here at our gathering. David Kwong Pham, tell me how your week is, and then also tell me when to stop shuffling. So let us know who you are and where you're watching from and what energy you're bringing tonight. What's happening, people? If y'all don't tell me when to stop shuffling, I guess I'll stop on my own. All right. I did not see it. Ooh, very interesting card. Love City fam that's popping through, be sure to let me know in the chat how you're doing. I'm going to see some of you tomorrow at Won't You Be My Neighbor and in the weekends programming. But okay, he said it's galactic. I love it. All right, so I did stop, and let's see here. The word I picked is very weird. It's not like a feel-good word of the night. It's a really strange one. Tonight's word is efficiency. Can y'all see that? Is that in focus? It's probably not in focus. Efficiency. All right, so let's see what the angels want to say to us tonight about efficiency. Once again, the Good Report and Love City Live is not a belief-heavy space. I don't care about the salvation of your soul. I don't care about whether you're going to burn in hell or not. I don't care if you're going to go to heaven. I don't care if all dogs go to heaven. I don't care. It's just a spot for us to be together in a very intentional way. So much of what's in social media world and in the internet is pushing and pulling us to and from things that we may or may not want to go towards. Sometimes in life, it's the boss or the partner or the girlfriend or the boyfriend or fuck buddy, pushing and pulling us in all different directions. And so we gather on Wednesday nights to just be together for something positive, expansive, and apparently, according to our angels tonight, efficient. Then after I read this card, I'll check on our guest to make sure that her house didn't blow up wherever she is. Okay, so the angels are telling us that the word of the night and the word for this episode is efficiency. Wise use of energy, resources, and time. That's what efficiency is. Wise use of energy, resources, and time. It may not be the shortest route from point to point, but the most inclusive and effective. Efficiency, a wise use of energy, resources, and time. It may not be the shortest route from point to point, but the most inclusive and effective. All right. I have no clue what that card means for tonight beyond it telling us to use the energy wisely and use the resources wisely and use the time wisely. And see, I use the energy wisely. I use the time wisely. And here comes back Rosa, just in the nick of time. What do y'all think about the word that we picked tonight? I don't pick the words. The angels pick the words. The word we picked while you were in the Matrix was
efficiency.
And check this out. And the card, the little, there's an explanation. The explanation that accompanies it says wise use of energy, resources, and time. It may not be the shortest route from point to point, but it's the most inclusive. And if I get what this card means now, like we had to include you in this discussion. So for efficiency's sake, we just had to kind of be with the energy, use it wisely, allow the resources like your computer or whatever blew up over there.
My phone blew up on me.
It was the phone that blew up.
Yeah, like it blacks out when it gets overheated. It just shuts down completely. Oh,
Efficiency.
hopefully this other device doesn't blow up.
Listen, it's cool. We were just chilling in the space. David calls it angelic probability. That's another thing I love about having these live tapings is that we get to hear from everyone. He's saying that there's an angelic probability. I'm putting words in his mouth that there's an angelic probability that there's a reason why your phone blew up, I guess.
So stop using that damn phone.
It's cool.
Get a new phone.
It's cool.
Oh my god, but that card is so unusual. Oh my god,
it is.
That card is like
of all the things in here, I usually pick. You know, I did 70 days in a row of this show at the beginning of the pandemic, and there's purpose and release and resilience and like forgiveness. There's like all of these heavy words in here, and then the ancestors shut off your whole device and then made me pivot and pull the word efficiency. Which makes me think of like washing machines.
Yeah.
But not so much about
stuff.
I love it. Once again, thank you everybody that's tuning in right now and watching and contributing to the conversation. I'm here with Rosa Vasquez. This is a live taping of, what show am I doing right now? I'm doing Love City Live and I'm doing The Good Report. There's so many in our ecosystem, as you know, Rosa. Sometimes I just blank out and just forget where the fuck I am.
You got a lot. You a lot of
coals in the fire.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, so do you. What's going on for you? Like what's been happening since the last time we spoke? And we've spoken on camera and we've spoken on off camera, like on phone calls, and I've never met you in person. You're one of my COVID finds. I don't think we've ever hugged.
Right, yeah, we haven't yet.
Jesus. That's wild. Right? Whole ass relationships. But I feel like we connect all the time. But since I've spoken to you last, what's going on in your world?
So throughout the summer, I kind of like after Memorial Day, I kind of chilled out and like kind of decided to eliminate some projects I had going on and also potential obstacles to like focus on important, one thing at a time. Because I knew like after summer was over, I'm an educator and then I have 2 little ones as well. Like this was so up in the air at the moment. Like what the hell's gonna happen? Like the schools had made no decision at this point. So, I knew like I needed to really kind of sit down and really decide for myself and not wait to see what, the DOE or whatever they say, the powers that be say. So, now I'm just at home with my kids and kind of feel like I'm a teacher again. I'm a parent. I'm a mediator. For like a dean, like all those things. I was like,
does it feel like it's right where you're supposed to be, or does it feel odd still because it's new?
I would say so far it's been 3 weeks, and the first week was like, what the hell is happening? Like I guess it was one of those points that I was like, is it me or is it like something else going on? And then just talking with people close to me, I'm really just kind of grounding myself and believing in my power. I said, I'm sort of like in charge of my family and myself, and I have the power to really go back to basics and take care of my children. So I decided, I think as time is going by, it gets easier. And I think that's something parents are going through now, especially those that decided to do remote learning and those that are also teachers as well. Like time, it takes patience. And I think with that, you're also learning different ways. You just can't use what we did indoors or in the system at home. So it's finding ways that's going to work for your family, work for yourself as well too, and your kids. I think it's really helped me to be aware. That's like a big one. Really observe my kids, like their learning style, and also who I, especially myself.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that parents even have the space in this climate to slow down and figure out what they're? I mean, you're blessed in the chaos because you're able to kind of, specifically cater to your children, and you're a trained educator. What do you say to the person that's out there kind of swinging from the flagpole, because they don't really understand the nature of childhood development?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think
What would you tell them?
tell the parents.
Mm-hmm. You don't care
Yeah,
about the
I
parents.
think
You're not talking to the parent. You're
I
like
think I'm sorry, like I'm trying to focus on myself as a parent too, but no,
exactly.
I think is one of those things
Okay, so
that
can we pause there for a second? Because as I was asking the question, I was like, how dare I ask Rosa to speak to every parent in America about, how they should homeschool or remote teach their child? But I'm sure like you're just doing the best you can in the framework of the conditions of your life, as is everybody else, right?
yeah, for sure I am. And I think everyone has a different environment they have to deal with, and also different situations they have to deal with as well, and finding what works for them. And I think it's not beating themselves up about it or be like, okay, this parent is doing it one way, that's good for them, and everyone's got to find what works for themselves, because the parent is the best teacher for their own children.
Mm-hmm.
And I think parents need to realize that. I feel we depended too much on the Department of Education too much for taking care of our kids.
I'm gonna put you on the spot and put any parents that are listening now or watching now on the spot. What are the top three things in COVID that your children have taught you?
Hmm. For myself, oh my God, I know for me, it's definitely more of observation and seeing how they learn,
Mm-hmm.
seeing how they are as an individual. Because when they're going to school or when they want to go to school, they have their own personality. I don't really own them, like my children are going to be their own individuals. That's just my mantra of the things when it comes to parenthood. And
Mm-hmm.
it's being aware of like and observing who they are as little people, as how they are, and also just being aware of myself, like when I'm getting upset, how to come back to center, and also being aware of when it's also too much, like the school's not with me, the teacher's not with me, so when it's too much, I put it to the side, like, okay, this will come later, you know my
Mm-hmm.
own personal well-being and my kids well-being comes first.
When you say put it to the side, like what does that look like in real time? Are you like tossing a Chromebook out the window? Or are you
No, like I'm just taking the worksheets that I print out, putting it in a folder to the side, and then the next day we get back to it, kind of thing, which is one of those
you
things
say you're
is if you
prioritizing quality time over the need to check a box?
yeah, right. Because I'm noticing that like with the schools, like it's like attendance has to constantly be there, and they have to make sure that the kids are there, and sometimes they want the children to be visible so much, and I don't feel comfortable sharing my sacred space camera all the time, 6 to 8 hours a day
Mm-hmm.
on, especially my kids. So as soon as they see their face, I mute it, I shut the video, and if they want to see them again to participate, I put it back on. People got to respect and hold on to that space that's their home.
I didn't even think about that from like I love you, Rosa, by the way, because you are on that woo woo shit too. And I had never thought about the fact that, a lot of people oh my goodness, I don't even have kids. So and I certainly don't have school age children. So I never would have even thought about this. A teacher is now in your living room. And sometimes for people that have multiple children, they now have multiple
Hmm.
teachers in their living room. And even if you are a uh, exemplary parent, you may not want people in your safe space like that for hours
Mhm.
of the day. And I always, I think a lot about the teachers that kind of have to teach and kind of corral the class. And I have a lot of sympathy and empathy for them. But then you start thinking about like the fact that now they are now in people's houses and that whole dynamic that you have to navigate. I never considered um, what that looks like, and then the lengths that you have to go through in order to maintain that boundary because you have to be able to mute. You have small children, right?
Yeah, 5 and a 4-year-old.
Yeah. So yeah, so you got to be on mute duty.
Yeah, they can't. I mean, I see some of the other parents, and they have, they leave their kids on doing it, and that my kids are too young to even sit down and do their own work. I'm with them, and if the teacher goes on there and explains it, it's sort of still not, still not checking in, right? Every child learns differently, and
Right.
pre-K kids and kindergarten kids sitting in front of a screen all those hours is just not ideal. They're not going to learn it that way.
How do you think this is going to affect like this generation of kids? Do you think they'll be majorly impacted or will they be I mean, look, we're all resilient here, so no one send me any like crazy DMs about, or like emails about, oh, Andre said that they're like that the kids are going to be like ruined or something like that. I'm not saying that we're going to be okay in the end, but none of us had to learn our ABCs, or our basic. Well, I'm old enough to have fucked with cursive.
Yeah.
You remember those days of cursive writing? Give me a shout out or send me a message later if you're listening to the podcast if you know what the fuck cursive writing is, and the paper that had the pink line at the top, but then there were like blue lines, dots and dashes. Do the kids even still use dots and dashes paper?
Yeah, they still have it, but now it's through the computer, and in their workbooks they have it. Some composition notebooks have it.
But kids aren't writing in cursive the way
No
our
more,
fancy
yeah.
asses did. No more?
Yeah.
No more cursive. All right, well, long live cursive. Give us a shout in the comments. I see you watching in Facebook. Let's see, we're on Twitter and Periscope, Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube right now. Oh, we're also on Discord. Oh, interesting. Okay, so we're sharing a lot. Even Geeks Unite, we're here for you tonight. I'm joined by it. Well, actually, coincidentally, one of my favorite geeks in the yard, Rosa Vasquez, leader of Collaborative Conscious. And part of your programming that you do in the community is anime conventions and anime meetups. So would you like to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. So
no, we didn't plan on doing that tonight, but I didn't know we were on Discord, and that's where the geeks hang out, and that's where we hang out. So why not? Tell us about the anime. And who's your favorite anime character?
Okay, so I have a local community and group that's called ACG Culture Social Mixers. So it stands for Anime Comic and Game Culture Social Mixers. So it's a local and small space, online and offline, where those who are fans, enthusiasts, creatives, artists, merchants, cosplayers of those genres could come together and just generate leads and collaborate together as well, because sometimes those spaces are so wide and sometimes they're very quick also, because when you go to conventions you can't really get to know somebody, and if you want to do a project together as well as artists or creatives, it's kind of next to impossible. And and find out who in your local community is in this kind of genre as well, because I grew up loving those three genres, and it was sort of like one of those things growing up, like I don't talk about it, it's in the closet, I'm not gonna mention that I game, especially as a girl, like gamer girls growing up, it was no such thing, they saw it as weird. And
can you talk to me about being a gamer girl in the closet, as it were?
Yeah, I felt like
I believe everybody has closets, no matter whether you're straight, bi, gay, like whatever your orientation. I believe everybody has a closet. And you said yours was the anime gaming girl gaming anime closet.
Yeah, it was because as in that genre, it was mostly like male dominated. Boys played games, boys read comics, they did anime. So girls weren't even really involved in that as well. They saw it as like, what are you doing here? You should, be doing the so-called, girly stuff in a way. Then, then when I finally realized that there was other people in my local area that are also creatives and a part of this. It really helped to, nowadays it's everywhere. So
Mm-hmm.
no way and kind of like, oh, I can't talk about this. And I grew up in New York City, grew up in the Bronx, and it was sort of like, do I talk about this? Cause I gotta keep a tough interior, and like,
Well, because gaming and anime made you weak,
it was sort of like, they started as like geeky, nerdy, like,
and geek made you weak. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
yeah. So they seen it like that, and sort of like not cool kind of vibes, kind of thing. So I think now is a different kind of impression it does, and it's so positive now. And so and I seen it with my students growing up, and how like it's all in their lifestyle. They grew up with that stuff, and if that's a part of their lifestyle as well, it's so different. So growing up in the Bronx, I didn't know many gamers or anime comic fans as well. And then now, since I'm still a fan of it and creative in the hobby as well, I wanted to create these spaces that are local, and you can meet someone in your local area as well doing that. So I do social mixers, and I was doing them, you know, in New York City, a couple of them, and then I started doing it virtually. Over the summer, I did a summer series, so show and tell summer series, where I had a list of various cosplayers, anime, comic creators, even those who did merchandise or clothing, apparel in those genres as well, and give them a spotlight to promote themselves, show something about themselves, and give them a voice to speak about what they do and ways to collaborate. And it's been a fun, interesting experience, and hopefully I get the chance to do it again sometime at the end of this year.
You totally will. You totally will. I mean, has the digital space been good for you? I mean, are people wanting to? Is that? Well, you said that's where it was happening.
It happened first, like locally, like I had it two in the Bronx, one in Manhattan, and it was started all like meeting people through social media, and then once COVID hit, I was supposed to do it before COVID. I was supposed to do another event locally, but then COVID hit. So then when I decided, let me do the summer series virtually, and it's been great. Like been meeting so many other artists, and those people in the genre and cosplayers from across, like not even locally, from across the country, across the world, and it's been great to like for them. Like one thing they love is that they love that they could just share their voice, share their creativity, because there's no conventions they might stay for the next year or two. So it's been, a great space for them just to share their creativity and, what's going on with them. Some of them even talk about mental health. Like a lot of them that I had, because I also do themed events and conversations. So it's not just like show and tell, like what they're wearing. It's more of like, they have real based conversations, so they'll talk about mental health. They'll talk about discrimination, racism, women's rights, so it goes to lots of different topics.
Wait, Rosa, wait. Like, this isn't an ordinary show and tell. This is something different, and then the first thing you lead out the gate with was mental health, and then you came behind it with discrimination. So this is like a show and tell that's like super like good for you.
Yeah, I think it's because I tell people that
Hey, Stacia,
they could feel comfortable sharing their space and share what they want to talk about, something that they want to speak about.
Stacia says anime is what brings them together. I don't get the anime crowd. What do you think it is, Stacia? I'm sorry, Rosa, about, well, Stacia too. What is it about the anime crowd that is so?
There's so many kinds. That's the thing. I'm more of like 90s retro, and early 2000s kind of anime vibes. Like you said, I guess my favorite animes were like Cowboy Bebop, very jazzy space, kind of stuff. And those 90 ones, and then now there's some new ones that are so different. There's just so many different types of fans and genres as well, just like movies, so it's really, now the young kids, I try to understand what they're watching, and I look at it just to be understanding it, and some of it is like, I don't know if I can get into that as well. So it's kind of left field.
You saying the anime has also evolved? The anime
yeah,
itself
I think so, especially like I think just like gaming and comics have evolved, it's become very mainstream, and it's become very more involved in Western culture as well, because it was something that was very just okay, it's going to stay in the eastern hemisphere in Japan and in those Asian countries, but it's since then, maybe I would say in the past 20 years, it's been such a mainstream thing that at least maybe 1 out of 5 or maybe 1 out of 10 friends definitely know seeing one anime or one movie related to anime.
Wow. Wow, 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 wow. I have no entry point into that world. I tried and I could not take. I think that it's the cartoon connection for me. It's like I'm like, oh, I'm too adult for cartoons. I'm not gonna watch cartoons. I outgrew cartoons when I'm like, and so that is kind of a hang up.
That's the thing. I think it's a very the Western way of like the way cartoons were in America. Very like the Warner Brothers and kind of goofy and funny like that. But a lot of animes go to that other side of like real life dramas and like life stories.
It's super meta. They say it's super meta, and it's like pills and potions and shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, depending on what you like, what's your what kind of anime you like, or what's your taste, what's your preference.
Okay,
it's
so
there.
Do you think that you could, and perhaps some of the viewers, prescribe for me what kind of anime I might be into, like right now? Or is it deeper than that? Or there's so many different types, it's not that
there
easy.
are so many different types, because and also there's people that you would think they might be into one anime type, but then secretly find out they love, I don't know, like schoolgirl animes or something, like, oh, I would never think that.
Oh, okay. So I'll have to have you back sometime soon to talk like a whole episode about anime, or maybe we'll do like a Love City anime crossover pop-up kind of situation, so that y'all can like geek out about it and school me on which anime house I'll be in. Anyway, we're chatting tonight with Rosa Vasquez of Collaborative Conscious, a community leader and such a giver, like always in the Instagram stories, Instagram wall, promoting and creating opportunities. Speaking of which, you're going to be speaking like within the week, right?
Yeah.
Where are you going to be? Where can people check out this, or what's your presentation all about?
So it's about one of the services I provide through Collaborative Conscious, because Collaborative Conscious is my whole umbrella to all my other sub things, which the anime comic gaming was one of the sub things. So it's the sharedtalent.org. That's the name of the company. And they're doing an education and advocacy conference, and it's going to be streaming. Registrations in my bio and Instagram, but it's going to be streaming starting this Sunday. And it's going to be streaming, I believe, for like one whole week if you register. And I believe next Thursday they're going to have a Q&A with myself and all the 20 plus presenters who are presenting from education, from family, from any type of talent that in regards to how we could save ourselves. That's the hashtag that the founder of Shared Talent uses, hashtag save ourselves, of like how it takes us in our own communities and our own educators and people of color and women, and men of color to like really just stand up and take back education, take back, our voices in the education field.
What does taking back the education look like for you?
I think for me, it's about bringing back the whole thing of what my workshop would be about, which is building bridges. It takes a village, or a modern day version of It Takes a Village. And it's about, I'll be talking about my school, family, community partnership hubs, and how I believe in school, family, and community should join together and collaborate and share resources and bring that awareness and autonomy to each other, just to provide self-sufficiency and sustainability, for our children, for the future.
Are you believing that this is something that can happen outside of white people? How do white people integrate into this, given that well, let me speak for myself. I feel like they personally have so much work to do around healing all of this. And so that's why I love your concept of saving ourselves, because that's something that Black and Brown can kind of do in their communities. And then how does this gel for you? Or did I go way too Malcolm X?
No, it's great. I think so LaShawna Harris, who's the founder of Shared Talent, when she created that hashtag, It really resonated with me with my philosophy when it comes to collaborative conscious as a whole, of bringing back a modern day version of It Takes a Village. And I feel as people of color, we need to find those villages again. I feel like we've lost that with government dependency from, the war on drugs in the 80s. And, you know, I don't want to go political of like, okay,
No,
depend
please,
on.
please go. No, I read today on Twitter, someone said like, I'm black, I don't have the luxury of not being political. What do you mean? Like, you don't want to go political, Rosa? You don't have fucking luck. Your brown ass don't have the luxury of not being political on a Wednesday night.
Oh, right.
Like, you're just not gonna be political
With the vice presidential debate going on.
You better be political for the salvation of us. How are you going to say save ourselves has deep resonance, and then the next breath go, I just don't want to be political.
No, I feel like people always feel like, I think it was for me growing up in the Bronx, it was like that dependency on either Republican or Democrat. And my thing is just my personal preference. It was like, both sides, they'll do what they want to do and to get the vote and then move along, and
it's just saying that's beautiful.
The communities stay the same. And so I feel like there's really, resources being put in the wrong places, in the wrong spaces as well. And growing up, seeing that lack of nurturing in not only our nutrition, our mental health growing up in those communities, also, after school programs, and also even going into, a job or some sort of long-term career, we didn't have those things. While, communities of, white communities had that, they had that ability over the years to develop that. Well, we didn't. So that's why I feel with the school family community partnership hubs, I want to bring back that, the idea that we could, be self-sufficient. We could depend on one another, not to feel like, oh, you're going to take from my plate. And, I'm like, why should we collaborate kind of thing? Because people still have that stigma with collaboration, Can
we stop there for a second and talk about that? Because you going to take from my plate. You going Is that the colloquialism? I know what it means, but do people say that? Is that like a thing that people say? Is that a thing that people like? Y'all sound off in the comments or message me if you hear this in the podcast later in the week. Is that something that people like feel like you're gonna take away from my plate? Okay.
Right. Like I think they probably say it differently now. I'm so old school. I have so many metaphors, but yeah, I feel.
Yeah, you're saying that, like, you're like, I'm not trying to date you. I think we're probably like very close to age. So yeah, I get what it means. I mean, I just don't understand why people would even, I mean, I understand why it happens, and I cannot pretend like I've not had those thoughts or like been in that place too. I'm trying to figure out how I don't want anybody to take from my plate, and I don't want to take from anybody else's plate. I don't see how that's going to get us into the future we actually want. That's what I'm saying.
Right. Yeah. I think with the whole idea with collaboration, it's especially when it comes to, people feel like wherever how far they succeed on the ladder of what society sees as success, they feel like I work for this, or, do I need to collaborate with somebody else to, to assist them, to help them? Should I, depend on them, whatnot? And I think with collaboration, it could be so beneficial in many ways, and if it's in the right formula, we always feel like it's just give, and no one's kind of giving back in a way.
David Kwong Pham is saying collaboration in musical theater writing is complex. Respect, he says, with a capital RESPECT, is the tether to this collaborative relationship, and respect is fluid dynamics. Go off in the comment section about how respect is fluid dynamics. I don't even know where to even begin. I mean, where do you think we could stand to find more respect in our collaborations in 2020, even digitally, Rosa?
I think it's knowing that we have a voice, wherever we go, wherever we decide to sit down on, whatever table we decide to sit down on, or whatever community we decide to go to and build, that we know our voice is heard there, that we have actions that are being done as well. Because sometimes, we could be saying things and be saying the same problems for years to come, but nothing's kind of being done. But if we feel that we have that power and sort of that ownership to be able to do those collaborations, it brings so much awareness to ourselves and, sort of autonomy, that's just that independence of, okay, I'm giving some kind of value to this collaboration, building this, as hence what my workshop's about, building those bridges, which I felt was one of the obstacles I myself when I was doing the school family community partnership hubs, in certain communities, there was those building bridges, obstacles, because you have some communities out there that don't want to, kind of rock the boat, or feel like, like, why should we depend on, what resources are we going to get from one another, kind of thing.
Yeah, what's in it for us?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Wow, wow, wow. Stacya's down here in the comments. Let me pull them up. Stacia says, yes, people really feel scarcity consciousness because it's fed to us to create divisiveness. Let's share our food.
That's so good. Yeah, scarcity consciousness. Well, I haven't heard that in a while. That's so true. I think it's so true because it's like when you grow up, like I grew up in the Bronx, public assistance parent, and things were scarce, not only physically but mentally as well, draining. Like, do I have the ability to go on to next week or to next month, kind of thing? And even if there's something in front of me, I know someone that has that abundance as far as conscious level, they'll go after it, and I feel we have to kind of build that within our, conscious communities, within those, local communities, to believe in that ability, that power that they have, that they could do it, it's possible. Just so hard when things are kind of fed to you, especially now with social media, just what's fed to you through social media and even media as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna blog about this I think tonight. I think it's next up in the queue. But in it I talk about how we're so impressionable. We're like in the face of this social media. I watched a 20-second TikTok of a guy saying, if you wear your fanny pack on your waist, you're lame. If you wear your fanny pack on your chest, you're cool. And just kept looping. And I laughed about it, whatever. Well, I went to put on my fanny pack yesterday or day before yesterday, and he was in my head, this stranger. And I was like, do I want to be lame and put it on my waist, or do I want to be cool and put it on my chest? And I was like, it's really wild how we can be sponges sometimes. And I think we really have to work. And what you're speaking to and what I'm speaking to, we need to really be vigilant about what we're soaking up. And that's what I wrote about, because it's like, it doesn't matter where the fuck I wear my fanny pack. I need to wear it and just go get my groceries and get my little odds and ends and come on.
Exactly.
But the whole mental, the scarcity consciousness, where I wear my my fanny pack, how I sound, how I present, the fuzz on my head, did I brush my beard? Like, all of these things contribute to a lot of suffering and unhappiness for us. And I love that, the work that you're in education, and in community organizing is all about bringing us, pulling us out of that crazed mental state and putting our feet back on the ground. What do you think of the major challenges right now, since you are specifically involved in education? What do you think is going on in the state education system, in the New York City education system, in the midst of COVID? And if you could be superintendent for the day, like, what would you change immediately?
Oh man. Oh my, where do I begin? Okay. I feel like it's It's gotta take a team, or who knows. Like I always feel like, I get shit for saying this, like just demolish the whole thing and start from the ground up, because
Mhm.
geez,
Yeah.
it's never really worked for us, and I mean us, like, people of color. Like it's been a very much system of, you know, go from go from job A to job B, it's always been like that. Never really kind of, because I've worked in public school and private schools and seen the difference in how what is given into each of those systems and like what comes out of it. And with
Mhm.
the public school system, it's just been a huge guinea pig test thing, and I've never liked that about it. Like it's just a whole, and now it's like that too. I feel like this is just a whole experiment phase going on now with COVID and the things you hear in the news of like
And like the way
children
that
got to get tested, and it's like,
yeah, and like
whoa.
there's like a red zone on the map now and an orange zone and a yellow zone and people have to like, it's like but these are lives. I don't understand, and I'm sorry, this is a huge like tangent, but I'm gonna come back to you. Um, you know, so many countries have managed to get these things under control. So many local governments, so many major cities all over the world have managed to get this under control. Why do you think we're still playing Etch a Sketch every other
Mm-hmm.
day on the news, Rosa? Like
Mm-hmm.
why all the zones and um the lack of care from the people in power, including the education system?
Yeah, it's if I feel like, if they wanted to test these things out, like I would feel, why use the education system? Like there's plenty of other, avenues they could take instead of the public school system and the children that go there, and also the educators and parents as well that go there, because some, like the system has become, and that's what I was noticing when I was putting my kids in school and I was working there as well. Like they treated like a huge, like, sort of indoctrinated system. Like you come here, this is what's going to be done, and you're going to do it like this, and you have to do everything
Industrial.
that's kind of told. Yeah, it's so industrial, like an assembly line, and I'm
Mm.
one in my belief of like, I need to get the hell off that line. I can't be on an assembly line at all. I can't deal with it. And even if I try to, my inner spirit will tell me, girl, get the hell off this line.
Get
Don't
off
even
that
be on.
line.
Nope, I
There's
can't.
nothing out there that's good for you.
Mhm.
I'm
Yeah.
out on that line. And so yeah, you're unplugging.
Yeah, so it's, yeah, definitely that. And I think now with COVID, this is a definite big awakening to everyone. I think if you aren't unplugged yet, I don't know why you're tethering on it, but get off it. And it saves lives. Like, we go back to that of like, go to speak to the real speak to educators, not the ones that they get from outside, and they hire to come in to do the work that probably haven't been in education for, or to get the voice of, every school district is different. Find out what's happening. They're just like with my resource hubs. When I do them, I always collect surveys in those local communities, because what is needed in that community or school district is going to be different from another.
I'm
And
gonna
I
go.
feel, while they mentioned that, I don't know if it's even accurate, if it's even happening.
I'm gonna go grab a drink of water. But tell people about your resource hubs and how you construct those in the communities you serve. And the question that I had down here was, what challenges are you seeing presently in the community? And by the time I get back, I'll be back in time. Tell us about the hubs, and then I want to hear about the challenges that you're seeing on the ground right now, because I really want Love City specifically to be on the front lines of how we can meet the direct needs of of the people that we encounter. Because
Mm-hmm.
I believe that if we don't actually take up arms ourselves and actually care in that way, it's not gonna get done. We can't be waiting for someone who's out here gasping for air, on the White House lawn. We can't be waiting for that kind of motherfucker to do it for
Yep,
us, right? So anyway,
exactly.
tell them about the hubs. I'm gonna go grab some water. Go for it. My mic
So,
is your mic.
yeah, so the school family community partnership hubs, it's under the collaborative conscious umbrella. And as I said before, collaborative conscious is bringing back the modern day version of It Takes a Village. And my mission of that is to bring that back. And the vision is to find ways to collaborate and connect people through conversations, and to create ideas that reshape our communities. So within that, as an educator and as a parent and also a community member, I came up with the idea of SFC partnerships hubs, which are stand for School Family Community Partnership Hubs. So the School Family Community Partnership Hub is a space that goes from school district to school district across the city and of course across the country eventually, that we could share resources, and it could be various resources, not just from educators, it could be from those in your local community and also parents as well, to give back the power, which is autonomy, that independence of, your voice is also, you have something that you could give to this community, to this resource hub, because like I say, parents know their children better, they have a better way of educating their own children. I feel if schools are more involved in the community, they'll be able to understand what is it that, benefits these children that live in those communities that they serve. And schools, if they're able to open up and say, this is what we could offer and also what help we need from both the families and communities as well. So those hubs are very localized and within each school district. And it does take, many people from creatives. I've had a list of community centers, I've had creatives come and share their resources or what they do. And these are mostly free and low cost resources that I always aim for, because a lot of the resource hubs and the partnership hubs are for those those communities and local communities that are in need of resources, and what actions are being taken in those hubs, in those communities as well. So these hubs are just a starting point, and where we could build from there, and then how we could further nurture this seed, I call it, and kind of branch that out.
I love it. I love to see it. I love to see it. And like, and
And it's
so
growing, it's growing, so
I,
it's
well,
it's at its beginning,
of,
like.
of course it's growing. There's resonance. You're putting out good shit into the world. I mean, what are like the top two things that you're seeing people be affected by right now in COVID in the communities that you serve?
um as far as that, I see definitely lack of information when it comes to COVID, when it comes to the information that's coming out to us, when it comes to testing, when it also comes to where can we get resources for our children, where can we get resources within our own community, because sometimes even people that live in a community, they don't know that they could go to their local community board and volunteer or speak there as well and find out information. Also think about those communities that some of the families are homeless shelters, some of those that are in foster care, some of those that lack those resources. So I think about those especially, and like how can we find spaces that could provide for them the information that they lack, because right now with COVID, one of the things I noticed was that a lot of information was being given digitally. It was being given through virtual events, it was given through emails, and some of these families don't have access to that. So are they getting, those families that don't have access to those things, or communities that don't have access, are they getting that information or those resources?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And then what would be like one more thing in addition to improving communications and information? What would be one more thing that you would see would be a direct need of the communities you serve?
Oh, you broke up there. Say it again.
Also, in addition to creating more opportunities for information and making sure that like there's more of a grassroots communication
Mm-hmm.
strategy, what would be like something else that people would need?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's knowing that there's information out there besides what's kind of we hear in the media, because I still feel like there are some individuals and some groups that feel like they can't kind of you know understand, or they can't kind of lean on or trust the information that's being given by, let's say, sometimes you have small entrepreneurs or even community creators such as myself and you, that we want to do the footwork, we want to go out there and share the news, but very some people are very, because of, like we said, the scarcity consciousness, are very taken aback, like that fear of like, why should I trust you, why should I, you're not like a major organization or the government, they still have that fear, that
Mm-hmm.
stigma of
Yeah.
it, the label. So it's, breaking down those barriers and just building that trust, finding someone in that community that they know which was something that really benefited me growing up in District 15 in the Bronx, was like being from that community and also working with those who lived in the community for like their whole life. They have that trust person. They have that person that they locally know that they could go to. And so working with those people, working with people who are, you got how they say, like in the Spanish culture, you got the abuelas that are out the window and they know everybody's business. Like get them. They know what's going on. Get the people who are out in the, that they hang out in the corner and they playing dominoes or something. Like, reach out to those people, because you never know what the information they know or they might need as well. I feel taking every bit of someone that's in the community and using them as a resource, using their, them as an individual, using their power.
Door by door by door. All right. So how can people connect with you and catch up with you for the next for the next ways you're going to be giving love in the world? How can people connect?
So like you said, I'll be doing the education advocacy conference that's being done and presented by sharetalent.org. So appreciate them. Like, you could register to that in their bio at sharetalent.org, or you could go to my bio at Instagram on Collaborative Conscious. I'll have it there in my bio, and register for the conference. And you'll be able to see not only my workshop on building bridges, it takes a village, and the school family community partnership hubs, like how to build that and how to bring that into your own communities. But there's 20 plus other, wellness trainers. There are artists, there are dancers, there are educators, also parents who are sharing a little bit of, of their knowledge to those in need.
Perfect. Okay. Well, I want to thank everybody for tuning in and listening. I want to thank you, Rosa, for hanging out with us tonight at the Good Report.
Yes, thank you. This is fun. I love it. I love that I could just,
just
chill out and like just let it out.
Of course.
Kind of like let my hair down and just do it.
Of course. Give me the top 3 things that you're grateful for. Did you get Did you get that?
Top 3 things I'm grateful for?
Yeah, and I want to hear from actually I want to take a breath. I'm going to take a little moment to actually bring the music up just a little bit. And like I said, I want to thank you, Rosa, for being here and chilling out with us on a Wednesday night. And I just want to, take the last 5 to 7 minutes to just anchor in gratitude with the community that you serve, Rosa, and also the community that I serve. There's just so many moving pieces. We've talked about what it means to be a parent in the midst of this space. We talked about what it means to be an educator and a lecturer and facilitator in this space and community organizer. There's just so much going on. And I know that it's very easy to be and to become overwhelmed with it all. And the reason why I started the Good Report and brought it into this Love City Live space is because I feel that one of the magic crayons in the box of crayons of life, if you will, is gratitude. There's something really, really special about this gift that we get to just pull ourselves in the time it takes to take a breath. We just pull ourselves into a thank you. And so regardless of what your spiritual path is or what you believe, whether you call it spirit or shamalama or whatever it is for you, we just want to pause for a moment to just offer specifically in this moment and intentionally in this moment a giant thank you. Like I said, I want to thank Rosa again for being here, and I want to thank you all for watching and listening. But more importantly, I just want to thank this breath. This breath. and for this day. And I want to invite now Rosa to tell us what you're grateful for in the moment. And I want David, if he's willing, to tell us what he's grateful for.
Yes. That was so good to say the breath, because each day has been so thankful to be alive, and with everything going on and with COVID here and everything happening, so I'm definitely grateful for just being alive each day, that breath. I'm thankful for just being present with my children, just having that presence of being a mother for them has been so important for me, especially now during this time. Just really anchoring down what it is to be a mother, believe in that power of being a mother. And I'm also thankful for those like you, Andre, and others who believe in, collaborative conscious, because that's my own personal journey, collaborative conscious, and all the pieces that come together with it is what makes me who I am, like collaborative conscious is me kind of unmasked, you could say, and also still growing and learning. So I'm grateful for all those who are seeing that unravel and happen.
It's a beautiful thing. I'm grateful for you too, Rosa. Like, we've met in COVID. And I think that through our series of public conversations and private conversations, we're finding that like there's a lot of work to do. Like a lot of work to do. And it's so funny watching
so much awakening. That's so much awakening that used to happen.
Yes. And so much awakening that needs to happen, and so much caretaking of really, really wounded people throughout the world. And so that's why I'm not going to get caught in scarcity mindsets, or especially as a leader in a creative community, and a human driven community, not a profit driven community, but a people driven community. We can't get caught up in all of the nonsense and and the infighting and things like that, because there's so much work to be done. And I'm grateful that whenever I reach out to people like you, there's a resonance. There's a willingness and an energy of, not for my sake, but for the sake of elevating light and love, positivity, and goodwill on the planet. I'm not sure if the debate is still going or not, but I do know that for a significant amount of time of it, we held space for something else. And I just really want to encourage everyone who's listening, and I really want to encourage you to stop by loveseearts.org and check out the things we're doing. I got a giant web menu redesign to do, because there's like 11 things in the menu right now on the website, but it's still workable. And we're doing the best we can. So go and check out loveseearts.org if you want to register for any of our programs or get a reminder to pop back through. I want to invite people to subscribe to any of our channels wherever you're watching this tonight, or give us a follow and just keep coming back. This is about as clear as it gets for me. I'm thinking this is number 6 of 52, because I'm going to do an episode a week for the whole year somehow. And I think that this is the magic, Rosa. It's for me, and I think that sometimes people think that because I'm a showman, that I'm a performer, darling. People think that I have some kind of like angle, or that there's some like Soto's gonna pull back the curtain and I'm gonna be like back there pulling levers, the love city, because we talked about this distrust, that we have to kind of work through in the communities we serve. And there's not like, it's just simply me getting on Wednesday nights, because I believe that we deserve to have alternative spaces.
And you're doing that, especially like you said, there's the debate going on, and you are bringing that different energy that people need, because sometimes It's just bringing so much negativity out there. We need something else in the space, in the world around us.
Mhm. What is your hope? I'll give you the last word. What is your hope for what's to come?
Hello?
Oh, that's I asked. I was giving you the last.
Oh, like, what happened? Did we get cut off again?
I was giving you the last word. I was like, what is your hope for what's to come? And then you went, what?
I think. Oh my God, I don't know who's controlling the internet right now, but
It's all good.
they want to mess up our vibe.
It's all cool. It's cool. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay. I was just saying, I was gonna give you the last word. What is your hope?
Oh,
How do we make it out? How do we make it out of all of this, according to you?
I feel it's just lead with love, lead yourself, lead each other with love. And love is so powerful, it's not what people think it is generally, it's just so many things, universal, it's a universal kind of power you feel in yourself that lends itself, blooms itself into so many different things. So lead with love.
Lead with love. Thank you, Rosa, for showing us the way.
Thank you, Andre, and everybody else who tuned in. And of course, Love City Arts. It's been always a pleasure. I love coming on here. It really kind of like gives me,
Yes, that's good. Good. Come back soon.
Yes. Thank you.
Come back soon. David Kwong Pham is over here in the comments. Last comment, he says, "I'm grateful for science." This kid loves science so much. He's gonna change the world with his musical theater, science writing.
Science. Yes.